Previously, on Big Brother Extreme. Our 16 house guests for this season all entered the house. I asked each of them if they were the Saboteur, and none of them fessed up to being the Saboteur. Who is the Saboteur? Well, Big Brother is not going to reveal who that is just yet. However, the Saboteur is going to do their first sabotage, right about now. Also, who will win the first head of household competition of the season? Find out tonight. But first, as I said, the Saboteur is going to do their first sabotage, now. House guests, I need you all to listen, and listen closely. First of all, congratulations for making it into the Big Brother house. However, house guests, as you are all aware, it isn't Big Brother, unless there is a twist involved. This season's twist is that out of the 16 of you, one of you, Big Brother can confirm, is the Saboteur. Who is the Saboteur? Well, house guests, that is up for you to figure out. Because the longer the Saboteur is in the house, the longer they sabotage not only your game, but sabotage the entire house, and setup as well. House guests, before the show began, Big Brother randomly picked one of the 16 of you to be the Saboteur. The Saboteur is a legitimate house guest, and they are eligible to win the grand prize. However, until further notice, the Saboteur must sabotage the game by rewarding and giving advantages to certain house guests, and also punishing and giving disadvantages to other house guests. Not only that, each round the Saboteur remains in the game, they will receive 20,000 simoleons that they can keep no matter what happens. Unfortunately, this comes at a cost, as each round the Saboteur remains in the game, we will remove 50,000 from the prize winnings. Right now, the prize money stands at 1 million simoleons, but as I said, each round the Saboteur remains in the game, they get rewarded 20,000 simoleons. However, 50,000 simoleons will be removed from the prize money. You know what, house guests, I will speak with you a little bit later. I'm going to let the Saboteur do the rest of the talking.
Hello house guests. I am the Saboteur. Until further notice, I control everything in the Big Brother house. You want to know the freaky and scary part? I am sitting in this very room with the rest of you. Yet you guys don't even know who I am. Yes, haha. However, what you don't know, and what Big Brother doesn't even know, is that I am going to make this season fun for some of you, but very uncomfortable for some of you as well. That's for damn sure. I am the Saboteur, and will sabotage this game. The longer I stay in the house, I win cash, and the prize money decreases, so I'm going to try to remain in the game as long as possible, and cause havoc, chaos, and badness, and madness into the house as possible as well. House guests, if you manage to evict me from the house, my sabotaging ends. But believe me, house guests, that's not happening. That's what you think. I don't think so. So, without further ado, my first act of sabotaging starts right now. Each round I stay in the game, Big Brother is allowing me to give two types of advantages. An okay advantage, and a great advantage. Which the okay advantage consists of a veto pass. A veto pass allows the house guest to play in the power of veto competition, even if they were not picked for the veto draw. However, they must use the veto pass in the round I gave them the pass. If they don't, the pass is null and void. They are also free to gift the veto pass to another player, whether they are head of household or nominated, and automatically are chosen for the veto. Ultimately, the house guest may choose not to use the veto pass. The great advantage will grant a house guest immunity for the round. So this house guest cannot be nominated for eviction, and is immune. However, the catch is, the house guest cannot compete in any competitions for the round. So in other words, they are not allowed to participate in the head of household competition, or the power of veto competition. They are however, allowed to vote at evictions. I will also give two disadvantages. A disappointing advantage, and an unlucky advantage. The disappointing advantage means that a player cannot compete in the power of veto competition. However, these house guests will be allowed to compete in the head of household competition. These house guests are also eligible to be vetoed and saved if another player who is allowed to play gives them the veto. Also, a loophole to this disadvantage: any player that wins head of household, or any player that is nominated before the veto competition, will be allowed to play in the veto, and if they like, they are free to exchange their disadvantage to another player, prohibiting them from playing in the veto competition. As long as that player isn't immune, has a veto pass advantage, or is head of household, or nominated. These house guests will be allowed to vote at evictions. Finally, I have something that I bet you would not want to receive or get, which is the unlucky advantage. The unlucky advantage prohibits a player from playing in the head of household competition. Even worse, these house guests can be nominated for eviction as well. There is some good news: these players are allowed to participate in the power of veto competition if they are nominated, or picked for the random veto draw, or if they are given a veto pass from another player. However, as I said, this is an unlucky advantage, so it can get worse. If a player who received the disappointing advantage of not playing in veto exchanges it to another house guest, if they win head of household, or is nominated, the house guest with the unlucky advantage seems to be screwed, and it sucks to be them, I guess, as they are not allowed to play in either the head of household or veto competition. So I guess house guests, if you are the unlucky person to receive the unlucky advantage, and you also managed in a technicality to get the unlucky advantage, you had better be well liked in the house, or it's not looking good for you. House guests, I will call each of you in alphabetical order, and you must take a seat on the red chair in front of you. I will either explain that I decided not to sabotage you for this round. I will give you an okay advantage, I will give you a great advantage, or I will give you a disappointing advantage, or all hell breaks loose, and I give you the unlucky advantage. House guests, you will only receive one advantage, or disadvantage, or nothing at all. So to avoid confusion, one player will not get 2 advantage, or 2 disadvantages, etc. Also, a house guest cannot receive the same advantage, or disadvantage, category, 2 weeks in a row. For example, if a player receives an advantage in the bad category, the next round, they must either get a good advantage, or no advantage at all. In addition, if things don't seem scary and freaky enough, as the Saboteur, through reverse psychology, or just to mess with all of you, I can decide to give advantages, or disadvantages to myself. So keep this in mind as well. House guests, do you all understand? Great. Amy, please take a seat. Amy, I have decided not to sabotage you this week. Please go back to your seat. Brad, please take a seat. Brad, it's not looking good for you. I have decided to give you the unlucky advantage. You will not be eligible to play in the upcoming head of household competition. Too bad. Caroline, please take a seat. Caroline, I have unfortunately decided to give you the disappointing disadvantage. You will not be able to play in the veto competition, unless through a loophole, you are permitted. Chantel, please take a seat. Chantel, I am very sorry. It's not looking good for you. You have the unlucky disadvantage, and you are not eligible to compete in the head of household competition. Oh well. Darshan, please take a seat. Darshan, I have decided not to sabotage you this round. Denise, please take a seat. Denise, I have decided not to sabotage you this round. Dylan, please take a seat. Dylan, it's not looking good for you. I have decided to give you the unlucky disadvantage. You are not eligible to compete in the head of household competition. Oh well. Emma, please take a seat. Emma, I have decided to give you an okay advantage and give you a veto pass. It allows you, or the person you give it to, the right to play in the veto competition. Gus, please take a seat. Gus, I have decided not to sabotage you for this round. Inez, please take a seat. Inez, I have decided to give you the okay advantage. I am giving you a veto pass. You may use it to allow you, or the person you give the pass to, the right to play in the veto competition. Jason, please take a seat. Jason, I have decided to give you the okay advantage. I am giving you a veto pass. You may use it to allow you, or the person you give the pass to, the right to play in the veto competition. Katie, please take a seat. Katie, I have unfortunately decided to give you the disappointing disadvantage. You will not be eligible to compete in the veto competition unless you win head of household, you are nominated, or someone gifts you a veto pass. Mary, please take a seat. Mary, I have unfortunately decided to give you the disappointing disadvantage. You will not be eligible to compete in the veto competition unless you win head of household, you are nominated, or someone gifts you a veto pass. Miles, please take a seat. Miles, it is your lucky day. I have decided to grant you immunity for this round. You cannot be nominated, and you are immune from eviction. However, you are not allowed to participate in any competitions. Neil, please take a seat. Neil, it is your lucky day. I have decided to grant you immunity for this round. You cannot be nominated, and you are immune from eviction. However, you are not allowed to participate in any competitions. Scott, please take a seat. Scott, it is your lucky day. I have decided to grant you immunity for this round. You cannot be nominated, and you are immune from eviction. However, you are not allowed to participate in any competitions. House guests, I have made my decisions and choices. I will see you next time at the first live eviction. Good evening, house guests.
The Saboteur has made their choices. Coming up next, the house guests will compete in the first head of household competition of the season. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, let's get to the first head of household competition of the season. House guests, welcome to your first head of household competition. The Saboteur has decided to give Miles, Neil, and Scott immunity for this round, so they are not eligible to compete. The Saboteur has also chosen Brad, Chantel, and Dylan to not compete in the competition. For the rest of you, the head of household power is up for grabs. The head of household is a very important position in the house. They will be immune from eviction for the round. However, they must also nominate 2 house guests for eviction. House guests, let's get started with the competition. House guests, for this competition, you are all at Big Brother's train depot. There are several trains set to leave the station, and Big Brother wants you to guess how many trains are at your particular station. Before the competition, Big Brother assigned each of you a train station. They are Reading, Pennsylvania, B&O, Short Line, Union, Bostonian, Chesapeake, Rocky Mountain, Gulf Coast, and Washington. In alphabetical order, each of you will stand up and tell Big Brother how many train cars are inside your particular station. There are between 1 and 10 cars in each station. Some stations may or may not have the same number of cars. House guests, if you give Big Brother the exact number, you will receive 5 points. If you are off by 1 number, coming or going, you will receive 3 points. If you are away by 2 numbers, coming or going, you will receive 2 points. If you are away by 3 numbers, coming or going, you will receive 1 point. House guests, if your guess is 4 or more numbers away, coming or going, you will receive a score of 0. The house guest with the most points, at the end of the competition, will win. As always, we will go on to a tiebreaker if need be. House guests, do you all understand? Great. Amy, you are up first, and your station is Reading. Please tell Big Brother how many train cars you believe are at your station. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 9 train cars at your station. Amy, you guessed the right number exactly, so you win 5 points. Great job. Caroline, you are next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 6 train cars at your station. Caroline, you were 4 or more numbers away with your guess, so your score is 0. I am very sorry. Darshan, you are next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 10 train cars at your station. Darshan, you were 4 or more numbers away with your guess, so your score is 0. I am very sorry. Denise, you are next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 3 train cars at your station. Denise, you were 4 or more numbers away with your guess, so your score is 0. I am very sorry. Emma, you are next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 2 train cars at your station. Emma, you were 2 away with your guess, so you win 2 points. Nice. Gus, you are up next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 6 train cars at your station. Gus, you were 1 away with your guess, so you win 3 points. Good. Inez, you are up next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There was only 1 train car at your station. Inez, you were 4 or more numbers away with your guess. Your score is 0. I am so sorry. Jason, you are next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 8 train cars at your station. Jason, you were 2 numbers away with your guess. Your score is 2. Good. Katie, you are next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 7 train cars at your station. Katie, you were 4 or more numbers away with your guess. Your score is 0. I am very sorry. Mary, you are next. How many train cars do you think are at your station? Let's see how many train cars are at your station. There were 5 train cars at your station. Mary, you were 2 numbers away with your guess. Your score is 2. But with 5 points, Amy is the winner of the head of household competition. Well done, Amy. However, Big Brother has decided to take inspiration from the Saboteur and do his own sabotaging. Amy, you are the winner of the head of household. However, what would you do if Big Brother offered you 50,000 simoleons to not accept the head of household power? This bribe money will not be deducted from the prize money, unlike with the Saboteur twist. Amy, if you take the bribe money, you will still remain in the game, but you will be dethroned of your head of household power. Gus, who was second place, would instead become head of household. Amy, mind you, if you take the money, you can still be nominated for eviction. Amy, this is a rather tough choice, but we will give you a few minutes to think about it. What will Amy decide to do? Find out, next. Welcome back. Now, let's find out Amy's decision. Amy. This is Big Brother. I need your decision, now please. Amy has decided to take the 50,000 simoleons bribe. So therefore, Amy is dethroned as head of household, and Gus, you are now head of household. Houseguests, the back patio, the lower level of the house, which contains the bedrooms and den, and diary room is still closed at this time. But the kitchen is now open, with snacks for you to enjoy. Houseguests, Big Brother will get back with you soon. Amy originally won head of household, but she decided to take the bribe. So Gus is now head of household. Who will he nominate for eviction? Find out very soon on Big Brother Extreme.